This morning's readings remind us of the calling each Christian has received to be like Jesus by being an apostle, that's one who is sent, an evangelist, that's a bearer of good news, and a philanthropist, that's a lover of others, as long as that is an unconditional lover of others. The concept of a Christian vocation, commonly referred to as a calling from God, is not limited to the clergy or those in religious orders. All people who consider themselves disciples of Jesus are called to carry on his mission and his ministry. The events in the first reading must have confused the early Jewish Christians. They already had to deal with the Gentiles becoming believers in Jesus as members of the Jewish Christian community. In today's readings, the Gentiles received the Holy Spirit before and without becoming Jews through the waters of baptism, without becoming official Christians. They also had to reconcile themselves with the concept that God can choose and gift anyone with the signs of faith, and that God is not limited by earthly constructs such as official membership. Once God has shared the divine gift of the Holy Spirit and called individuals to be a part of the believing community, no one can object. In the first letter of John, our second reading, John calls us to love one another. We are enabled to love others because God first loved us. In fact, God and the act of loving are synonymous. The very nature of God is first and foremost love. God is love. Because God is love, God radiates love to humans. Human life and divine life flow from the love, who is God. The sharing in the loving life of God is what each human longs for, and is what each of us can be blessed to have. Now, in our gospel passage that was just read to you, we are present again at the Last Supper. Jesus has just told his disciples that they are the branches and that he is the vine. They are given the life force, also known as love, which will enable them to bear fruit. The fruit they are to bear is the loving service of others, even to the point of laying down their own lives for others. They are elevated to a level of not being slaves, but friends who freely serve others. Recall who washed whose feet at the Last Supper. They are to imitate and remember him by doing what he has done. This divine saving power is made known in the expansion of the role of all believers. Even the clergy shortage and other crises in the church are ways of God reminding us that the mission and ministry of Jesus is the role of each and every believer. God has chosen each of us to proclaim the good news. This is not just for the ordained members of religious orders. The church is not just an institution headed by the Pope and the bishops telling all of us what to do. In our first reading, the Holy Spirit was given to the Gentiles through baptism. God is calling forth the laity, the people in the pews. Once we realize how much we have been loved by God, we have no other choice but to share that good news. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35.